winner is Sydney, Australia.
This week, the moment that got the hair on Warnie's neck to stand up.
The great moments in sport come when they're least expected.
Neil takes a very special athlete for a driving lesson.
Hey, I'm doing it.
And dreaming of gold in one of the newest sports at the game.
Hello and welcome to the Games. All the Olympic information you need in the build-up to 2000. I'm Tracy Holmes.
And I'm Neil Brooks. So on the show today, we'll look at new Olympic sports, a perler of a Porsche, and we put the bounce back into trampolining.
But first, Lindemans Wines have been chosen as the official wine supplier for the 2000 Olympics.
And a few of my mates and I broke training briefly to test the sophistication of our palates. Obviously, alcohol and sport aren't an ideal combination, but provided it's taken in moderation, the wine I mean, there's no reason there can't be some common ground. Even so, Patrick Auld from Lindemans had his work cut out for him instructing a group of Olympians, and yours truly, on the finer points of viticulture. Donna Ritchie hadn't even tried red wine before, and despite a lot of sniffing, she didn't look as though she was about to break the aversion of a lifetime. Still, Patrick tried his best.
What you look for is it's medium bodied on the palate, okay? So, no, it's there in front of you, Brooksy.
I found it all right. It's just the focus was a bit of a problem. Too many late nights in front of the computer, I suppose. Lindemans' charter is to supply all levels of wine to the Olympians and the officials, even the top-notch boys. Yes, Juan Antonio himself will be sipping on these very grapes come September in 2000. So I thought it may be worth making a few notes for future reference.
What did you say? Leather? Okay. Leather?
Yeah, I just read it down there.
I suggest, Neil, you cut down your intake or we mightn't have enough. But,
OK, point well taken, but these wines are available now from about $10 to $30, including the Juan Olympic Special. By the way, that's my name for it, not theirs. I thought it was imperative to glean every bit of knowledge Patrick had to offer, even if it did take all night.
That poor man is still sitting there. How long did you stay tasting and testing the wine?
Until it was just on dark.
Yeah, the following day.
Now, do you have a tipple? Do you like it?
I like the red.
And that's the wine.
Yes, the real wine.
The real wine?
The one that Big Wine likes.
OK, now speaking of the wine, here's Paul Marshall with the Games News.
In the heart of Sydney, a day at the beach. 57 tonnes of sand dumped in the city to launch the Australian Women's Beach Volleyball Tour. Some of the Swans were there and given a quick lesson by the experts. And remember those young winners from the Share the Spirit art competition? Well, from next week, you'll be able to buy their designs on a whole range of Olympic merchandise, from T-shirts to coffee mugs. When it's finished next year, the Olympic Equestrian Centre will have 25 kilometres of cross-country trails. And tomorrow, Rome gold medalist Bill Roycroft will be the first to ride part of the course. I'm Paul Marshall for the Games News.
After the break, the Games Sports of the Future.
Got ballroom in now, so...
No, they haven't actually.
Oh, let's hear it for ballroom. Yay!
Liz Weeks finding her feet amongst the Olympic high flyers.
And the German Mark with the Aussie Marks that's too precious to drive.
Which member of the awesome foursome also went to 2 World Championships as a BMX racer? Was it Mike Mackay, Nick Green, James Tompkins or Drew Ginn? Find out after the break on the Games Birthdays. The member of the awesome foursome who previously raced BMX is the baby of the team, Drew Ginn. Drew, the youngest of the crew by 7 years, celebrated his 24th birthday this week.
And what a fantastic couple of years Drew's had. Looking forward to your 24th birthday?
Oh, as you are, Neil.
I can't remember that far back. I tell you what, talking about new Olympic sports that have been added recently, like beach volleyball, women's soccer, very, very popular. Later in the program, you're going to be looking at Taekwondo.
Yes, we are. That's appearing for the first time at the 2000 Olympics. Obviously, Taekwondo fans and devotees are thrilled, but it made us think, what other sports would people like to see at the Games?
Well, Australian water polo goalie Liz Weeks got some very interesting responses when she hit the streets.
Well, they did ballroom dancing a couple of years ago, so I think that covers it for me.
Ballroom dancing, how you're pretty good on the dance floor, yeah?
I can cut some rug.
I think they're all in it now, aren't they?
Rugby league.
Rugby league.
Beach volleyball.
Beach volleyball. There's already beach volleyball.
Oh, they already thought of it then, didn't they? Just leave it as it is, okay? Just change the priorities. Just concentrate on basketball.
Just basketball, basketball,
Yeah.
basketball.
I have a fetish.
Got ballroom in now, so...
No, they haven't actually.
Oh, let's hear it for ballroom. Yay!
What about rugby? Because there'd be a good chance of a golden, I reckon.
Oh, you are a good dancer. Ballroom it is then, you and me.
Yeah, shake it down.
Let's hope Liz Weeks has all the right moves in the water at the Olympics. Let's move from new sports to a new discipline appearing at the 2000 Games, trampolining.
It's been a long, hard slog to Olympic status for the trampoline fraternity, and no one knows that more than former Australian champion Gail Stiffel. Gail and her two daughters, Erin and Kelly, both Olympic hopefuls, showed Liz Weeks just how much goes into every bounce.
I must admit, I've never found falling on my backside a difficult proposition. The backdrop is just a little more challenging. Wait a second.
You need a lot of coordination, you need to be able to have a lot of concentration, split-second decisions. Like if you get into trouble in the middle of a routine, you need to be able to change your mind about what the skill you're going to do and perform another skill, stay in the middle of the trampoline.
The scoring system is much the same as diving and other gymnastics, with 5 judges rating a compulsory and a voluntary routine. And Gail hopes that when the world's best strut their stuff in 2 years' time, it'll be standing room only.
We've just had the World Championships in Sydney over the last couple of weeks, and we had a full capacity crowd at the State Sports Centre, and it was great to see. And I know that they were all very appreciative of what the competitors could do.
Not surprising, really, considering some of the men will bounce as high as 8 metres. Personally, I'm setting my sights just a tad lower. Arms right
Up, and then bring them back to your knees.
Okay. All right, so first we'll just do some bounces?
Just some straight. Use your arms, big circles with your arms. Okay. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
I guess what I should do now is hop down and let the girls get on with their training. And I will, eventually.
Coming up, what Shane Warne and Grant Hackett have in common.
This is rare gold. The best kind of gold.
We remember the anniversary of our last Olympic experience.
And Neil buckles up with a very special athlete.
On their blocks. Kieran rolling forward.
I think my favourite Olympic moment would have to be back in the '96 Atlanta Olympics when Kieran Perkins overcome all the negativity and all the media pressure that had been put on him to get up in the 1500 metre freestyle and actually win the event by over 6 seconds.
We'll bring Perkins in, about 15 metres to swim. This is rare gold. The best kind of gold. Perkins goes in first.
I think definitely my most memorable moment of the Olympics would have to be Kieran Perkins at Atlanta. The 1500, definitely got the hair standing up on the back of the neck.
That was awesome. One of the great days in Australian sport. One of the best things you've ever seen.
Yeah, that Andy's win in Barcelona 4 years earlier, so imagine what it's going to be like in 2000.
Yeah, it is going to be fantastic. Talk about that Aussie spirit. I met another Australian with that spirit this week, having set Australian records in butterfly, backstroke and freestyle. Special Olympian Gabrielle Clark recently spoke at a fundraising lunch at the Aquatic Centre. Now, I can tell you her speech ended with a standing ovation and her 3 dreams: to travel to Italy, to own her own home and to drive an Italian sports car. So we decided to make one of Gabrielle's dreams come true. this is your car for a day, the latest Alfa Romeo Spider. What do you think?
Oh, wow. How cool is it?
Come on, jump in. Are you ready for this?
Oh, yes.
You
Let's
sure?
go. My name is Gabrielle Jane Clark. I am 22 and I have Down syndrome. I don't suffer from it, I just have it.
You just have it, that's it. And you're going to the Special Olympics?
Yeah, for the National Games. Well, I got lots of medals in soccer, track and field. I love all my sports and I played sports. Has helped me to achieve many things. The more I train, the more I gain.
No pain, no gain. Yeah, okay, now you start it up. Put your foot on the clutch first, foot to the floor, and turn it on.
Hey, I'm doing it.
You're doing it. Pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, I can't believe I'm driving it.
Stay left. How about we go and have some lunch?
All right.
Now, Trace, I just want to make the point, it was a sealed-off test track. No one else was allowed on the road. They wouldn't want to be, would they? Huh?
I'd like you to make another point too. Where was your hand for most of that journey?
On the handbrake. I've got to say, she's...
Exactly, on the handbrake.
She is fantastic. She is really inspirational. We had a great day. We had a good lunch. She can eat too, I tell you.
Well, she really loved the Alpha Spider. I wonder what she's going to think of the next car.
I know. Well, talking about cars, a Melbourne artist has just finished a car detailing job that's taken the spirit of Australia's games on a grand tour of Europe.
His name is Biggie Biller, just plain Biggie to you and me. And to say his latest artwork is a real head-turner, well, that's an understatement.
It took me 1 week, nearly 12 hours a day, in the showroom, on this wonderful hard tile. I feel like 100.
The design is taken from a traditional Aboriginal sand engraving, carefully fashioned to perfectly fit the contours of the car. And every picture tells a story.
You can see here how it's been cut off. The little toe is short and not sharp. It's actually showing my left hand.
It might seem the ultimate culture clash, but according to Biggie, that's exactly the point. The coming together of the world's oldest surviving civilization with the last word in automotive technology.
I could see that this would be an excellent opportunity to show and have a window into Aboriginal culture. So Porsche's culture, or Porsche's celebration, this is modern technology. Sorry. Hello.
We rest our case.
Still to come, Tracy gets some self-defence tips from the best in the business.
Olympic Club memberships. Are you this week's winner?
And one man's very special Olympic dream.
I use the Olympic dream to keep me out of a wheelchair.
Did you know that 42 years ago today, Ron Clark entered the MCG to light the cauldron to begin the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne? 103,000 spectators and 3,184 athletes crammed into the stadium to witness Australian and Olympic history as the 16th Olympiad was officially declared open.
I declare open the Olympic Games in Melbourne.
Back to the Games. From the ton of mail we've received this week, our winners of Olympic Club family memberships are Redentor Policarpio of Blacktown in New South Wales. Redentor has sent us 5 great torch designs incorporating the All-Australian Ensemble.
And a letter from Tony McGrath of North Geelong in Victoria reminded reminded us of the great adversity Debbie Flintoff-King overcame to win gold in Seoul in 1988. Tony would like to see Debbie light the cauldron at the opening ceremony in 2000.
And so would a lot of Australians, Tony. You and Redentor will both be getting an Olympic pack full of goodies, including the chance to win Olympic tickets every week.
The winners this week of tickets to the opening and closing ceremonies are Merrill Lee Horton of Beacon Hill, New South Wales, and Graham Manning of Coogee South, also of New South Wales. Congratulations.
When we cheer the Australian team as they enter the Olympic Stadium, we'll be cheering on the Aussies competing in one of the two new sports that we'll see in 2000.
That's right, Trace. One of those sports will be Taekwondo. The Koreans are expected to dominate, but the Aussies have high hopes of getting a foot on that podium. We caught up with one of our national champions and some future champs.
Excellent. Now, in Sydney 2000, when you're competing for Australia at the Olympics for the first time, is the belt going to be green and gold?
No, it'll be black. Yeah, and I'll be very proud to wear it too.
Barring injuries, there's little doubt that Australian champion Lauren Burns will be chasing a medal at the Sydney Olympics. Of the 28 distinct Olympic sports, Taekwondo is perhaps the most unique. For a start, you've got Buckley's chance of getting a shoe sponsorship. More importantly, it's also much more than a mere sport. As the world's most popular martial art, focus, respect and decorum take precedence over clean feet. And part of the Taekwondo philosophy is, you're never too young to learn.
Okay, Rhiannon grabbing Frankie around the neck.
Frankie and Rhiannon are both Joeys, which equates to a sort of Taekwondo kindergarten. According to Martin, the earlier they start, the more likely they are to stick with it. These kids are not only improving their discipline and motor skills, they're also learning a very effective form of self-defence. If you're interested and dedicated, the journey from novice to black belt takes just 2.5 years. And thanks to my brief exposure to the ancient art, well, if I'm attacked by a plywood-wielding maniac, I know who'll come off second best.
Oh, grasshopper. I've got a piece of jarrah at the back. Can you do it with that? Now,
I can do it with a brick.
What, with your car?
Brick wall. He's too scared to do the show with me now.
I am.
Sydney's got the city to surf, but in Victoria, their greatest fun run is the Olympic Dream.
It's a cracker. More than 10,000 competitors, from fun runners to elite athletes, well, they hit the streets of Melbourne last Sunday in pursuit of one of these medals. Now, everybody that finishes gets a medal.
For one particular entrant, his Olympic dream didn't mean setting a personal best or even a top 1,000 finish. Neville Saunders faced a unique challenge.
The 9th Olympic Dream Fun Run was as fast and chaotic as ever out of the blocks. Competitors ran or rolled 10Ks or walked a 6K course. The Olympic Dream wound its way through the streets of Melbourne and many familiar faces turned out. Although course record holder Steve Monaghetti chose this year to walk the track he once conquered. But while the elite runners were battling it out up front, an even more courageous struggle was taking place near the back of the 10,000 strong field. Neville Nifty Saunders has finished every Olympic dream so far and wasn't about to miss out on a 1998 medal, even if he is disabled by multiple sclerosis.
For the runners, yes, the Olympic dream is important because they can use it as a benchmark for every year. My dream is different because I use the Olympic dream to keep me out of a wheelchair.
Nifty's aim is to collect 10 Olympic dream medals before succumbing to a wheelchair. But he was under no illusions about how difficult winning medal 9 was going to be.
The last K, the finish, getting my legs to lift, that's going to be the hard part.
Walking with his family, Neville's determination to finish was truly inspirational.
Well done, mate. Well done. Well done. Come on,
He eventually made it to the line to a hero's welcome 20 minutes ahead of his 2-hour goal.
I'll do 10.
Yeah.
I'll keep away from the wheels.
Do 10.
No way.
Well done.
Yes, a ton of courage there. And try stopping Neville from getting medal number 10. An amazing performance. And what about the event? Great way to see Melbourne.
I can think of much easier ways. What about a tram, for instance?
Fair enough.
I've heard, Brooksy, that you've been taking some remarkable sights lately and you've even had a couple of dancing lessons. Brooksy goes Baryshnikov in a sport that's as much ballet as brute strength.
From paddock to amphitheatre, we track the progress of the home of the 2000 Games.
And reaching across the globe, the Aussie kids inspiring a nation. That's next week on The Games.
Now, it seems we've got our own Imelda Marcos on the team.
You're talking, hey? Pair of new shoes before we came on air today. Well, as you heard earlier in the show, it's 42 years to the day since the cauldron was lit at the Melbourne Games. Taking daylight saving into consideration, we've calculated that at this very moment in 1956, Ron Clark was running into the MCG.
Now, don't forget, if you want more info on tonight's show, you can look us up on our website. It's thegames.7.com.au. Email us at this address or drop us a line at lockbag 7777, Epping, New South Wales 2121. And tomorrow night from 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time, Tracy will be online on the web, our Games chat line, and she loves to chat, let me tell you.
I look forward to hearing from you. Earlier this week, we heard from John Sandiego. He emailed a request to see Susie O'Neill's win in the 200 metres butterfly in Atlanta. Here's the incredible Madam Butterfly, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.
They're taking their marks and away. Susie dropped just a fraction. Smith away well. Petria also quickly into stroke. They've come about 15 metres. Now Susie is coming on. She's looking strong. Petria alongside. About a metre back to Smith. Across in lane one. Jackson going quickly as well.
We saw Petria go up fast this morning. Susie looks fantastic.
It's O'Neill in front. She's going to win gold for Australia. She